Are we ready? All right. If you would, please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would you pray? Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time that we have together, and we pray for your guidance in all matters before us. And we just seek your blessing on this school, our students and staff, and this community. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. I have 7:30. So we will call our meeting to order. Is there anyone here who would like to speak at tonight's meeting? No? Okay. Well, thank you all for coming. So we shall move on to adoption of the agenda. Recommended that the agenda for tonight's meeting, September 12th, be approved as presented with additions, corrections, and deletions as recommended by the board. Trent has a correction.
We do have one change on item 9-12-4559. That is where we're recommending to hire Sharon Galloway. Her job title is incorrect. We have it as a behavior interventionist. That should read social/emotional therapist, because there is a difference between those two things. So we'll go into more. I'll talk a bit more about Sharon when we get there, but we did need to change that title. Social/emotional therapist. That is the only change I'm recommending.
Any other questions, comments before we? Okay, all those for it? Okay. Yep. All right. We need a motion. So I'm getting ahead of myself. So Scott, I'm going to assign that to you. Second, Martha. All right, all those four. Approved 7-0. Recommended that the minutes from the August 8th, 2022 meetings be approved as presented. Seek a motion. Martha? Second? Natalie? All those four? Passes 7-0.
No.
6-0, you weren't here. I forgot. Tonight's approval of claims. Recommend the claim numbers 15008 through.
I'm looking.
You should have been ready.
I should have. Done a lot of things. 15113.
All right. Any questions on claims? Need a motion for approval? Natalie? Second? Sharon? All those four? Passes 7-0. Trent, corporation business, sir.
Ready for this? Yeah. So the next 2 months are part of the board meeting is going to be dedicated to the budget. This month is the public hearing on the budget. So back a few weeks ago, I had to have posted on Gateway just the basics of what the public needs to see about the budget. And that was done well in advance of the amount of time we have to do that for the public hearing. You only have to have it done 10 days before. I think we did it 23 days before that. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about what you would see on Gateway if you haven't looked at it already. And then there will be a chance for anybody who wishes to make any public comments on the budget or anything like that to do so.
Can you explain what Gateway is?
Sure. So Gateway is an online entity that the Department of Local Government Finance uses for a lot of things. It's for school budgets, it's for county budgets, local budgets, you name it. That is where you can go as a patron of a certain place that you live, a district, whatever, and you can look up all kinds of financial information about your county government, your local government, school budgets, all that stuff. So that's pretty much what it is. Yeah. So as far as our budget goes, We are advertising a total budget of $12,266,184. Now that's broken up across 4 different funds. I'll go over those in just a second. That is about $259,000 less than what was advertised in 2022. There's many reasons that play into that, why it could be more one year, less the next year. It could have to do with the amount of tax levies you think you're going to get. It could be because of how you estimate what your expenditures are going to be. Because right now these are all estimates. The DLGF then looks at our budget and they will decide if it's right or not. And sometimes you get cut in some areas, and just because of you've estimated high for whatever reason. We are advertising an estimated tax levy. That's the amount of taxes we are estimating we will bring in. That estimate is $3,469,634.
Trent, do we have do you have that broken down in percentage so people can understand roughly how much? Because it's about 1.6% of the tax.
I don't have that broken down. No. That is $102,289 less than what we estimated for 2022. When you go on Gateway, they don't show you what I have to put on there. They don't show you the estimated tax rates, but I'm going to talk about what those are. We're advertising a tax rate of 62 cents per $100 of assessed value in the debt service fund. The debt service fund is the fund that we use to pay debt, exactly what it sounds like. So any debt that a school has, like right now, we still owe on paying off the construction done on the high school. So that money, those taxes go into the debt fund and we pay our debt from there. Advertising a rate of $1.3403, so it's about $1.34 and some change there per $100 of assessed value for the operations fund. That's the fund that we use to keep our buildings up. We pay salaries, some salaries out of operations fund. Transportation goes into there. So operations is used for those types of things, basically non-educational items. Those rates are down slightly from 2022. The rates for 2022 were 0.6982, so about 69 cents, 70 cents, and 1.3429, so about $1.34 for the debt service and operations fund respectively. So that's an overall difference of about 8 cents per $100 of assessed value. There's no tax rate for the education fund. There used to be when property taxes were used, but now that the state has decided to fund the education fund, that's based off of a formula they came up with, and basically you get money for the amount of kids you have in your school, K through 12. There's also not a tax rate for the rainy day fund. The rainy day fund is basically our savings account. We try to keep money in there, obviously, for exactly what it says. It's for a rainy day. When something happens, like, I don't know, a chiller going out. So we have a very healthy rainy day fund, and I'm happy to say that. We're going to keep a cautious eye on the operations fund in 2023, actually right now, and then also in 2023. We've done a lot to either repair or projects to make Eastern Green a better place for kids, whether that's athletics, educationally. But you have to keep an eye on that operations fund because it's not a never-ending amount of money. So we're going to keep an eye on that, and probably for 23, be very cautious on any projects we take on that aren't more of a kind of emergency in nature. Let's see, what else? As of September 6th, when I was working on this report, our student population had increased from 2022. We had an increase of 73 students from our September count of 2021. Our ADM count, which is when the state says this is the drop dead date, where we take a snapshot of your student population, that's coming up this Friday, the 16th. And that's what our funding will be based on, is September 16th. So if we keep those 73 students that we are up from September of 21, that would be a significant increase into our education fund, because each student in the state of Indiana, on average, is worth somewhere between $6,000 to $6,500. So you take that amount times 73, that's close to $500,000. That's huge, and that's.
How many students do we have?
As of this date, it was 1,118. That's what Harmony said when I looked them up.
That includes the 73.
Yes, that's a 73 increase from, because I think we were at 1,043, if my math is right, something like that, a year ago. So that is pretty much a report on the budget advertisement. Remember, this is just advertised. It's not set in stone until the DLGF takes a look at it. So in October, what we will do is I'll be asking the board to vote on this advertisement to adopt this budget and the resolutions that go with it. Then the DLGF takes a look at it and they make decisions on how good our estimates were. So that's pretty much my report on the budget. So,
Okay. Does anyone have any questions on that? You can find information on the website, and as Trent said, you can find it on Gateway to look at this in more detail if you'd like.
and if you ever need if you need to know how to get on Gateway, don't feel bad to send me an email. It's not that hard. I can walk you through it pretty easily. It's not too hard to find and pretty easy to get to. And I think all those instructions, I think we put those on Facebook at some point. So you might be able to look that up on Facebook too. But yeah, I'd be happy to help.
All right. If no questions, we will move on to public hearing number 2, which is superintendent's contract. And so the only thing different is this Trent's current contract ran through June of 2023, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So we extended it by 1 year through June of 2024. And the only real difference is the financial piece of it, and we agreed upon a $3,000 per year increase effective with the start of the next term. So, and that is posted on the website, so you can go out and see what that contract says. And certainly, if you have any questions that come up after tonight, send to any one of the board members, and we will be happy to answer those and address those questions. So does anybody have any for tonight? We give everybody time. All right. Thank you very much.
Oh, and we don't actually need to do the next one because that doesn't happen until October.
Yep.
That's our fault. So tonight's just the
hearing.
Yeah, superintendent's contracts, you have to do a public hearing, and then you cannot vote on it until 7 days after the public hearing. And the board decided they want to do it at the next regularly scheduled board meeting. So we actually do not need to do 9-12-4550. So we're good there. Okay.
All right. Back to you.
We will move on to the next item, which is 9-12-4551. So everybody's on the same page there. A coordinator of student services position. Dawn Sullivan is in a position called coordinator of student services. She's been in that since last year. With that position, it kind of continues to morph. She kind of works with me on a lot of corporation level things like grants and things like that. She also does some building level things with some of the admins, but it just continues to morph. And with some of the things I'm asking her to take on, it goes more into some summer work. So I'm recommending that we add 10 days to her contract, which I believe would put her at 205. So that's my recommendation.
Okay, need a motion? Scott? Second? Sharon? All those for? Passes 7-0.
Next, I'm also recommending to add additional days to the contract for Mary Reagan. Her new contract would be for a total of 113 days for the 22-23 school year. That's mostly due to just the ever-changing things we have going on in special ed right now. We were down a position for a little while at the high school, which made us ask Mary if she would be willing to add some more days to help us there. And then just overall, with we're hiring somebody tonight, but we still feel we need Mary there to just help out and help out in any way she can with a new face there, and with Travis Ray being new to the school too, it'd be a great help for us. So that's my recommendation.
Need a motion? Scott? Second? Sharon? All those in favor? Passes 7-0.
Thank you. Next, I'm making a recommendation to approve the renewal of our contract with Greene County General Hospital for our athletic trainer services. We've been with them now, well, it's been a few years.
This is our third or fourth.
Yeah, I think it's third, at least third. They're doing a great job. They always provide us with top-notch trainers, and so it was just time to renew that contract. Cost is going up a little bit, but not majorly, and it's still cheaper than what we were doing before. So,
Okay. Need a motion? Scott? Second? Natalie? All those in favor? Passes 7-0.
next up, I'm recommending and asking the board to both create and post the position of elementary assistant principal / instruction and curriculum specialist. We had a meeting, it's going on at least 3 weeks ago, maybe even close to a month ago, with the administration team, and felt it was time, all the administrators felt it was time to add this position at the elementary. Just since I've been here, the needs of the elementary keep growing and changing, and it's time to add that position to give Mr. George some help. This was something that I even was talking with the previous principal about adding this type of position to. We're hoping to find somebody that can both be an assistant principal but also help with some curriculum and instruction needs at the corporation level. Like it says in the agenda, the position's going to be funded from both Title I and special education funds, and then the education fund will pick up whatever's left from there. But definitely a needed position, and I hope we can find somebody here in the next couple of months and get some help there, because it's definitely needed.
Is this a brand new position?
Yes.
How much is the salary?
We advertised it as, trying to remember, well, actually we haven't advertised it yet. I'm planning on advertising it at 63 as the base salary, but then possibly looking at a stipend for the corporation side of it.
How much?
I could see it possibly being around 10,000 for that part of
10?
it. Mm-hmm.
So we're talking 73,000?
Mm-hmm. Possibly. It all depends on the person's background and experience.
And this is not a completely new position, because we've had assistant principals before. In the past, we've just had it off and on throughout the years.
Since
It would be,
2005.
So it's been a while.
okay.
Okay.
I didn't know the history behind it.
Yeah. A little history right there, so. All right, need a motion? Martha? Second, please. Sharon? All those in favor? Those against? Passes 6-1.
Next up, we have a recommendation to approve the resignation of Josh Schlosser as Assistant Maintenance Director effective September 9th, 2022.
Need a motion? Heather? A second for that? Natalie? All right, all those for? Passes 7-0.
I do want to wish Josh the best at his new position. Do have just a quick update on that. We've had that posted ever since Josh let us know he was leaving, and probably have 15 or 16 applicants already. It's much different than the last time we hired for Josh's position, where we had much less, and there were some very qualified people from what I've seen on paper. So hopefully we're going to be interviewing here soon. Next, recommendation to approve the resignation of Angela Snap as an IA in the ELC effective September 2nd.
Okay, need a motion? Sharon? Second, Natalie? All those for? Passes 7-0.
Thank you, and I wish Angela all the best. Next up, we are recommending to approve the resignation of Gina Mitchell as the 8th grade team leader, effective immediately.
Okay. Motion? Martha? Second, Scott? All those for? Passes 7-0.
And we have a recommendation to approve the resignation of Wesley Arthur as the high school head baseball coach, effective immediately.
Motion? Heather? Second? Scott? All those for? Passes 7-0.
I wish Wes all the best in his new endeavors too.
He's moving, right?
He's moving, yeah,
Okay.
moving to Illinois. Next up, this is the one that we changed just a little bit. So a recommendation to hire Sharon Galloway as a social/emotional therapist. This is going to be funded through our ESSER funds. We were able to reallocate some ESSER funds when adult and child could not fill the split funded position we had with them. Luckily, Sharon, who is very well respected, she's been in our schools for years, was willing to come on and take this position. And it's a very, very neat role that we have in our buildings to be able to use her. So
She is a licensed therapist, correct?
Yep, licensed therapist.
Okay. Need a motion? Sharon? A second. Heather? All those for? Passes 7-0.
This is great vacation.
Next is a recommendation to appoint Haley Bowersock as the 8th grade team leader, effective immediately. That's replacing Gina Mitchell, who you just voted on.
Okay. Need a motion? Martha? Second? Heather? Thought you stuck your hand out this way.
You can count me.
All right, all those for? Passes 7-0.
Thank you. I'm recommending next to hire Dylan Abel as the high school social studies teacher for the 22-23 year. This is the position that started the dominoes falling with Clinton Birch moving from there into Gina Ingram's position of PE at the high school, and Gina moving into the elementary. So
Okay. Need a motion? Natalie? Second? Martha? All those for? Passes 7-0.
next, we're making the recommendation to hire Cheryl Janess as a high school special education teacher for the 22-23 school year.
Okay. Need a motion? That's mean, Scott. All right, Martha with the motion. Second, Scott. All those in favor? Passes 7-0.
Welcome aboard, Cheryl. I'm glad to have you. I know the high school's glad to have you, definitely. Get that position filled, so Thank you so much for wanting to work here. Next up, I'm making a recommendation to create and post an athletics event coordinator position. This came about between a conversation I had with Mr. Martindale and Mr. Buskirk. We had a position like this at one of my former districts, and it helped out greatly. Basically, we're looking at paying $750 per season, and there's 3 seasons for a total of $2,250. It's going to be funded from the athletics budget. Position could be filled by one person, could be filled by a combination of, I'm going to take this season, this person's going to take these 2 seasons, or it could be one person taking each season. At the district I was at, it worked out different ways like that. I know at one point we had 3 different people filling a season. They're going to work both with the high school and the middle school AD to provide support, help during home athletic contests. If you ever go to our home athletic events, the AD is the jack of all trades. They're trying to run around and do all kinds of stuff, and sometimes they need the help in the concession stand or things like that. So I think this is going to be a very valuable position for us to add.
Okay. Any motion? Sharon? Second? Scott? All those for? Passes 7-0.
Next, we have a recommendation for Eastern Green High School to become members of the National Honor Society. Right now, we have our own honor society called the Thunderbird Honor Society. The students talked with the sponsor and took a vote, and they want to become affiliated with the National Honor Society. Annual fee is $385. This is going to be covered from members' dues. Students who might not be able to afford those dues, which they're estimating it's going to be about $20. There's still going to be a chance for scholarships to help students that can't afford that type of money. So anything else to add, Mr. Kirkendall? Anything I've forgotten? Anything you want to add?
No.
Okay. This is what the students want. So
Great. Natalie with the motion? Second? Martha? All those for? Passes 7-0.
We have to remember that.
yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Next up, I am recommending to the board that we change a little bit of wording on valedictorian and salutatorian status. This is something that didn't make it into our changes in high school handbook, but needs to be changed because as we looked through some things, we saw a situation that could arise. Biggest thing is a lot of the organizations in the county, they want to start honoring valedictorian, salutatorian sometimes about a month before school is ever done and grades are finalized. Things can change in a month. And a valedictorian could be honored and then it could flip-flop by the time grades are there. So basically I'm just going to kind of read through what this is saying. Eastern Green High School has determined that the valedictorian and salutatorian status will be decided at the end of the 8th semester of the senior year, which that is in the handbook at this point. Seniors who have the highest weighted GPA will be selected for this honor. Students considered for these honors must be on the academic honors diploma track. Eastern Green High School recognizes that local agencies and organizations may wish to commend students on their valedictorian status prior to the conclusion of the 8th semester. At that time, the senior student with the highest weighted GPA at the end of the 7th semester will be nominated to attend all award ceremonies that occur prior to graduation day. Awards and recognition ceremonies taking place on graduation day or thereafter will be attended by the final determined valedictorian at the end of the 8th semester. If after review, senior students hold a tie for these honors, students will share the honor and share the responsibilities. For the purposes of this written statement, a tie will be called if the top students share a GPA less than or equal to 0.005 points of their respective GPAs. So I feel adopting this is going to make things much clearer. in situations like this and just help out greatly, in my opinion. And this is something that Mr. Kirkendall and Ms. Willie, counselor, brought to my attention, and we had several conversations about this and feel this is the best action to take.
Okay. Need a motion? Martha? Second? Heather? All those for? Passes 7-0.
Next up is a recommendation to add high school soccer as a school-sponsored sport for the 23-24 school year. Just a few comments about this. This has come after quite a few months of listening to students who are interested, talking with adults who want to help with this program. My feeling is if we have a group of students that really want something like this, we need to do our best to provide for them. So that's why I'm making this recommendation to you. This, like I said, comes after quite a bit of meetings and information being provided that we've asked for. So that's where I'm at this point.
Okay. Need a motion? Sharon? Second? Natalie? All those for? Passes 7-0. Keep encouraging Kurt. That's your feeder system.
Next up, we have some transportation. Dennis was approached by the pastor at the Victory Baptist Church. I believe their bus went kaput, so they've been looking at ways they could get a bus, and we do have some spares that don't get driven a lot, and even with the possible sale of this one, we have plenty of spares left. So Dennis came to me and wanted to help out, and so I'm recommending that we sell bus number 16, which is a spare, to the Victory Baptist Church for the amount of $2,500.
Scott with the motion. Second. Heather? All those in favor? Passes 7-0.
Thank you. Have several field trips that need your approval because they are either out of state or overnight. I believe all of these are FFA. So we have the National FFA Convention from October 26th to 28th. That's an overnight in Indy. We have the Fire Conference. That's a leadership conference that they go to from November 18th to the 20th. That's an overnight in Trafalgar, Indiana. And then the National Farm Machinery Show, February 16th, and that is out of state in Louisville. And I believe we're going to have one as a late item that we got on there too. So those need your approval.
Okay, take a motion. Mike? Second. Heather? All those in favor? Passes 7-0.
We have some donations. $2,100 donated by the EG Football Booster Club to high school athletics for the huddle fees. That's the software they use to film their games, break down clips, things like that. $1,625 from the EG Football Booster Club to high school athletics for football headsets that the coaches wear. And then $1,000 donated by Joseph Pig to high school athletics for a Dr. Dish basketball shooting machine.
Need a motion? Scott? Second. Heather? All those in favor? Passes 7-0.
On to late items, we just have a few. We are recommending to approve the resignation of Hunter Southern as an elementary IA effective September 23rd, 2022.
Okay. Need a motion? Sharon? Second. Heather? All those for? Passes 7-0.
Thank you. I want to thank Hunter for all of her help at our schools. Next up, recommendation to approve the purchase and replacement of 2 adaptive frequency drives for circuits of the chiller from Train for, drumroll please, $150,790.
Is this covered by insurance?
It looks that way, that it's going to be covered by insurance.
So you may not spend it.
No, we're spending that.
Well, that's in addition to the insurance.
That's what it costs to replace the 2 basically computers that go in the chillers.
And
That's
that's-
going to get spent.
And that's not covered by insurance.
We're hoping that it's going to be reimbursed by insurance, yes.
Okay, but I'm saying you may not spend this amount. If it's, if it's,
They have to spend it, but might get.
But we
Yeah,
may get
we're going to have to
reimbursed.
spend it to fix it,
to get it back.
to get
Okay.
it back.
All right.
So we really didn't get the air
All right, need a motion. Scott? Second? Heather? All those 4? Passes 7-0.
And while we're talking about insurance, I do want to put a little plug in for the insurance company, the trust we belong to, S-Craft. There's all kinds of schools from across the state that belong to this trust, and it's a property and casualty insurance trust. They have been awesome to work with through this whole thing. We took our pictures. I mean, we kind of crossed our T's and dotted our I's too, but when they looked at the pictures and looked at all the information we provided, they were like, yeah, this looks like it was either lightning or a power surge that was beyond your control. So they've been great to work with so far. So we're hoping that, like I said, this is all covered by insurance and we get reimbursed. Okay.
Are you lost?
I'm just making sure. Yep, we're good. We're good. We're good. We have some ECA recommendations. Recommending to approve the hiring of the following middle school ECA coaches. So for girls basketball, we have 5th grade Megan Chitwood, 6th grade Brad Barr, 5th, 6th grade volunteer Jared Barr, 7th grade Megan Lewis Bowden, 8th grade Kristen Childress, 7th, 8th grade volunteer Stacy Deckard.
Okay, need a motion?
Question.
Sure.
On the email it says Brad Craig, are those the same people or different people?
For 6th grade for Brad.
Yeah. Girls basketball.
Yeah, that name does look like it was.
I wondered if maybe Jared's.
Yeah, Jared's
name got
last name,
there.
because I don't think that's right.
Cause I thought, are they brothers? And then I looked underneath at
Maybe I have the wrong,
the email.
hold on,
Hang on. Yep, see, it is Brad Craig right here.
Brad Craig. I
They're
think
right
I
next to
am,
one another, so I can see them.
I may have printed off a previous version of the agenda, so that's probably on me.
So,
I just wondered.
that's a good catch.
Yep,
Because in the recommendation from Nathan, it is Brad Craig.
yep,
So,
okay.
Okay.
Everybody else, I believe, is correct.
all right. Oh, need a motion. Scott? Second? Heather? All those 4? Passes 7-0.
Thank you. Boys basketball, 5th grade, Brandon Deckard, 6th grade, Michael Hartman, 7th grade, Jacob Carmichael, 8th grade, Jordan Webb.
Any question on those? Okay, need a motion. Sharon? Second? Natalie? All those 4? Passes 7-0.
Okay. Just a couple more. So we have a recommendation to approve an ECA count for high school bowling as a club.
Didn't we have that to get closed? And then,
It must have been closed because we didn't show that we still had that open. Because I think Gina Henderson and her husband ended up doing it, but it wasn't, they weren't using any funds
okay.
out of ECA and ACA account or anything like that.
I think they were just wearing shirts that represented
Yeah.
Yeah.
the tournaments.
Who's running?
Alex Clary.
High school or middle? Or both?
I believe it's.
I think it's inclusive.
It's inclusive, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
That's great.
Alex was a good bowler.
Mhm.
All right, seek a motion? Scott? Second? Martha? All those for? Passes 7-0.
Our last late item is that out-of-state field trip I was talking about, we had to put on here. Ag Power, JAG, FFA, recommendation to approve field trip to Mount Carmel, Illinois. Is that on yours too? Is it Mr. Carmel on yours too? That's what I'm showing.
Hey, I didn't proofread the late items.
No, that's on me. To Mount Carmel, Illinois, to visit Diesel Day at Wabash Valley College on October 5th, 2022.
Need a motion? Scott? Second? Natalie? All those in favor? Passes 7-0. Hope Mr. Carmel's ready for him.
Yeah. So I guess all we have left is discussion information items.
Yep.
Elementary, Mr. George, do you have anything? What? Yeah, he's a Louisville fan.
What's this?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You should be.
I like to do a lot more before that.
Well, you know, you represent Loserville, so, you know.
I'm sorry.
Uh-oh.
An update for the elementary students wrapped up their Paragon fundraiser last week. And although we don't have an exact amount, the company and my left and right brain in the back, we're really pleased. Well, one of them is on, like it's my left brain. But we want to thank everybody from students, parents, and community members for their support in our school. All that money goes into student activities and is able to provide things for our students. We've been sharing a handful of things on our social media lately about the different goings-on in some of our classrooms that's outside of the norm. Trying to make it a point to visit at least 3 to 5 classrooms every day without a computer or a notepad in a non-evaluative form in some way. And I've seen some really cool things from studies about other countries, STEM-related problem-solving building activities on Science Fridays, scavenger hunts, and adopted animals. One of our first grade classes actually adopted a hammerhead shark named Finn. And the students have really enjoyed learning a lot about ocean life and tracking his location through the ocean. Last Friday morning, our kindergarten classes were able to hold Grandparents' Day for the first time in a few years. And we saw about 110 Eastern Korean grandparents visit our building, watch class presentations, and join their grandchildren for a morning recess outside. Last week, our 4th grade students visited Ukraine for a STEM-related field trip. And I want to thank Mandy Busberg, Judy Milnes, and Alexis Spear for taking part in this program for our students. Our teachers are meeting once a week now, every Wednesday during their common planning time with their grade levels. And I've appreciated their willingness to grow and be open-minded about changes that we are making to best serve our students in those meetings. I only wish that I was able to attend more of those. With that being said, I want to thank the board for their support in allowing our building to hire an assistant principal. I believe that we can benefit tremendously with a second administrator that is able to help not only with student matters, but also serve our building and corporation in a curriculum and instructional role. And lastly, we're very excited to have Sharon Galloway joining our team as our social emotional therapist. Tasha DeMoss-Blevins has kind of transitioned into more of our true behavior interventionist, and she's done an outstanding job in helping with those students with some of our most challenging behaviors in grades K through 6. The addition of Mrs. Galloway will only further the resources that we're able to provide to our students, so I appreciate that. And yes, we do need it.
Thank you, Mr. George.
No, that's all the renovation. My fault.
I came in this summer to clean out some boxes in the front of the bird's nest, and half the trophies and placards in there were Alex Clary and his perfect bowling game. Middle school, high school, so you definitely got the right person. I just want to say thank you to the coaches and the athletes of all the fall sports. I'm enjoying attending those games and matches. Big thank you to Nathan Martindale, Alex Clary, and Allison Clary for getting the flock back up with basically it's bonus points if the kids come to the games. I was just down in 7th and 8th grade volleyball. We had over 40 students there cheering
Awesome.
together for 7th and 8th grade volleyball. So that was really nice to see them out. So I give them credit for starting that back, and they're keeping track of it. Parent-teacher conferences were last week. There were a couple nights where teachers went out here late 30 or 9 o'clock at night. So I just appreciate them staying late to open up those lines of communication with families. I really do. Give a shout out to Chartwell's and everyone who works in the cafeteria. The meals are amazing this year. Many more choices. And if you walk into the upper cafe, it looks like a restaurant now. I mean, it does with all the new equipment. So that's nice as well. And I listen to the kids talk about it, and they're happy. Want to brag on our students really quickly. I've seen several random acts of kindness so far this school year. You guys, I'm big on that. I try to keep things kind of at school centered around kindness. I notice these things, but I don't ever remember see so many at the beginning of the school year. I guess is where I'm going with that. So this should be an awesome year right off the bat. Our first professional development day, Monday, September 26th. I just want to go ahead and start getting that out there. We'll do that in newsletters and different Harmony emails as well. Those school update for students. And that's all I have. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Holt.
Good evening. Very excited to have bowling back, by the way. We had about 30 kids come out at the call-out meeting with middle school and high school, so about 30. Oh, wow. So I'm excited to see what they do. So we're in full swing at the high school, staying busy with a very full model schedule. Cross-country boys and girls are kind of burning up the cross-country courses, with the girls bringing home some serious hardware for their efforts. At their last invitational, I believe they placed second. We have some. They're a lot faster than I am. I'd be huffing in the back pretty quick. So really happy to see them doing well. It was nice to see several of you last Friday at the football game with the homecoming win. It was a great time. FFA was able to have their hog roast, and the football boosters did a great job with the student tailgate prior to the game. Girls golf sectional is coming up this Saturday, so I wanted to certainly wish the Lady Thunderbird golfers good luck. They also have a better game than I do, so I don't even mess with them. So the upcoming fall break also sees us hosting the girls volleyball sectional, and they have shown some tenacity in the past few games, and I lost my voice after the last one, so they made it a good game, and I haven't gotten that excited for volleyball in quite some time, so I was really happy to see them compete well. We have welcomed some new faces to Eastern Green. I'd like to welcome Dylan Abel, who is teaching social studies, and Ms. Cheryl Janess filling in our final special education teaching position. We're really happy to have both of them, so welcome. We also have Kelsey Moody, who is a counseling intern from IU. I'm going to get her her certification in counseling. And then also I wanted to wish Mr. Schlosser a farewell. We kept him busy in the pipes and the duct work, trying to keep everything going, and he did a great job, so we're really going to miss him. We've been working on some building some opportunities for our students this past month. We've had a special opportunity for a grant that we were awarded to build some additional graduation pathways for our students. While we're still very early on the process, we are working to bring an education, health sciences, and engineering pathway to Eastern Green. So we got a lot of work ahead of us. A lot of trips down to Jasper trying to make sure that we get these things put in place in an appropriate way where they're supported. I actually spent a little bit this morning at Owen Valley seeing what they had, and that gave me a lot of great ideas. So I'm really looking forward to the next year as we try to implement some of these changes. I would like to thank everyone who made this homecoming a very successful event. We had an amazing group of individuals really kind of step up in the way of an emergency. Mr. Busker was actually hospitalized that day, and so it was all hands on deck. I asked him if I could talk, but I said, "Go ahead, everyone knows already." So he's doing much better now, but really happy that he's having some good health in return. But it was amazing just to see people really kind of step up and help out. Mr. Doug Lewis did the scoreboard. Mary Ann and Todd Inman helped with supervision. And then, of course, Mr. Conley and Miss Lily stayed late to help out with supervision. It was all hands on deck. We had an emergency at the concession stand. That went smooth and everything. So just really thankful for everybody. I would like to highlight the efforts of two particular people. Ms. Emily Black put together the homecoming program that we had before the football game, and also the homecoming dance. Through student council and her efforts, we had 220 students show up at the homecoming dance. Our high school enrollment is right at 335, 36. That is a massive increase from the previous year where we only had 89 students. So, we've really worked hard to bring back some positive student culture, some school spirit. Our homecoming game was well attended, and they were loud. Our volleyball games have been loud. So really enjoying the atmosphere that we're creating. So it was wildly successful, and just want to thank everyone who chaperoned on Saturday night. Would also like to thank Miss Mandy Busker. You don't know this, but she's a fireball, and she is a force to be reckoned with. I mean, while her husband was in the hospital, she came and she took care of the gate, she took care of the concession stand. She did not drop a beat, and it was amazing to see her just take over where Aaron couldn't. And so really thankful for her as well. She does an amazing job and really kind of took a lot of pressure off of everyone else, because she was there to follow those footsteps. So yeah, absolutely. So I just wanted to thank her for her efforts. I know her heart was probably in that hospital room, but she certainly didn't show it that night. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you. I just have a few things. Want to remind everybody that the October board meeting is on the 17th. So that's the third Monday, not the second. That's due to fall break. So October 17th is the October board meeting. That same month, we will start back with our Students of the Month. We haven't done that yet for the board meeting, so we'll start doing Students of the Month in October. Another grant I want to talk about real quick. Mr. Kirkendall mentioned the 3E grant that we're taking part in. We've also wrote the digital learning grant. We wrote for it back in, I think it was April. Didn't get it that go around, but they opened up more money a few months later, so I wrote for it again. I'm crossing my fingers that we're showing some tenacity but for going back for it again, and hopefully we get it. It's a $50,000 grant, and obviously it has to be used in the way it says it's digital learning. So we wrote the grant to get us some training as we try to move toward going one-to-one with devices for kids in the near future, not this school year, but hopefully next year. So get some training on blended learning and how that looks in classrooms with devices. And then also help pay for our tech coach that we still have through 5-Star. So we should hear about that sometime here mid-September to possibly late September. If you haven't seen it already, you might be seeing a flyer coming to you via email, the email that we have on file here with schools. We have another round of TBRI parent trainings, that's trust-based relational interventions. If you remember last year, we did some training with a group called Hope Alight, both with students and parents. on just some social emotional things, how we can best help kids at school when they're dealing with any type of social and emotional issues they might be dealing with, and then how they can help themselves too. So there's another round that went with the funds we've already paid, so it's not costing us anymore because we didn't get this round in last year. Things got very busy, and I said, can we just do it next year? And they said, yeah, absolutely. So there should be a flyer coming to your email. We posted it on Facebook. I think it's on Twitter. But there's a QR code you can scan that will take you to a form where you can sign up. And there's also a link where you can just click on a link. It's a virtual meeting, so you don't have to even leave the comfort of your home. You can just interact with the trainer that way. And the great thing is the whole family can be part of it if you want. This is something that the kids can take part in too. It's not just for parents. Kids can take part in it too. So really, it's a really, really good training, and I hope we take advantage of that. So I want to get that out there, and I think that is it for me.
Okay. Martha, did you have anything? No? Scott?
No.
Natalie? Heather?
I just want to say it's really cool. The energy in here is really good tonight, and it's really cool to see or hear about all of the new things we have going, that the kids are coming out to stuff, school spirit's getting better. The call-out meetings I hear for all the extracurriculars are being well attended, so it just, I almost hesitate to say this, but it almost feels like old times again. So, fingers crossed after the last couple of years. Thanks for all your hard work. Everybody's encouraged that.
Sharon?
Well, I just want kind of piggyback what Heather was saying, that I really enjoyed seeing all the positive events, activities, faces on social media the last month. It's just been fun to see. I miss the classroom, so I miss being in the school, and I get to see a little peeks of it through Facebook. And so I want to encourage staff to continue to get that positive stuff out there.
Like that. All right. Put the specs back on. I have 8:27, so we will propose adjournment at 8:27. I need a motion. Scott? Second? Martha? All those for? Thank you very much for attending, and thanks to the crowd for being here. Thank you.